In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front calipers on this GMC Sierra. These are going to be located behind the front wheels. Let's get into it. Now we're going to take off the wheel. Use a 22mm socket to take the lug nuts off. Remove the wheel. I'm going to loosen up the bolt for the line. Use a 11mm socket. Just crack that free so it's dripping a little bit. And we'll just snug it so it stops dripping. It'll make it easy for removing it later. We're going to use a 19mm socket to take these bolts off. Take those off. Now, pull the caliper off. Then we're going to use a caliper hanger. And we'll just hang it from the coil spring. Set that aside. Just make sure there's no tension on the brake hose. Take the brake pads off. There you go. And take these caliper bracket bolts off. I'm going to use an 18mm socket for these. Pull that off. Pull the bracket off. Now we're going to separate the bracket from the caliper. Take these bolts off. Use a 19mm socket. Separate the caliper. And we're going to take the pins out. Just wipe these off with a rag. Take a little silicone brake lubricant, brake caliper lube, just a thin coat. Reinsert it. Just make sure the rubber seals all the way around, and then we'll do the same on the other side. Go. Take the anti-rattle clips or brake pad clips. I'm going to install those. Flip it around. Do the same on this side. Now we can install the bracket on the car. I take the bracket, slide it over. And get the bolt started. Now we're going to tighten these bolts to 170 foot-pounds. I'll put the brake pads on. And put the caliper over the pads. Get the bolt started. Now we're going to torque these bolts to 74 foot-pounds. I'm just going to use a 19mm wrench to just hold the pin from spinning. 74 foot-pounds. Do the same on the top one. There we go. Before we transfer over the brake hose, we're just going to pop the cap off the bleeder screw. Use a 10mm wrench, loosen up the bleeder screw. We're going to take the hose off the old caliper. Make sure you have plenty of fluid in the brake master cylinder because a little bit is going to come out when we do this. Use a 11mm socket, have a drain bucket underneath. Pull that off. Just pull the caliper out of the way. And you want to pull the seal off. Might need some pliers to hold the seal. Just holding the seal. Taking the banjo bolt out. Make sure the other seal is off. And we have a new banjo bolt. So you're going to have one seal on the bolt side. Go through the line, and then another seal on the other side. And get that started in the caliper. Make sure this is lined up. Snug that up first. I'm going to torque this to 30 foot-pounds. Once the caliper starts dripping out the bleeder screw like that, this has been gravity bled. We can close this up. Snug that up. And at this time, if the brake pedal feels spongy, you're going to do a full brake bleed procedure. And just take your cap, put your cap on, clean up any excess with some brake parts cleaner. Now you want to top off the fluid. Just take a rag, wipe off the cap. Take the cap off. You can see on this vehicle requires .3 brake fluid. Using the correct brake fluid. Let's pour this in. You're going to fill it up to the max line right there. That's good. And put the cap back on. Now put the wheel on. Get the lug nuts started. And snug these down. Now we're going to torque these lug nuts in a cross pattern to 140 foot-pounds. Go around again, double check. With the vehicle raised and supported safely, you want to take all four wheels off. And we're starting at the right rear wheel, and then we're going to go to the left rear. From there, we're going to go to the right front wheel, then to the left front wheel. Now you can see on the brake caliper, the bleeder screw right here. I'm going to take the little cap off. If you need to, you can use a pick or a small screwdriver. Take that off. We're going to use a 10mm wrench. And then to keep it a little cleaner, I'm just going to use a hose. The brake fluid's going to go through the hose. And then with an assistant in the vehicle, we're going to have them pump the brake pedal. Go ahead, pump the brake pedal. Nice and slow. And then hold it. Open up the bleeder screw. And you can see the brake fluid coming out. And there's some bubbles. And we'll close it up. Go ahead, pump the brake pedal. And then hold it. We'll do it again. A little bit more bubbles. Close it up. Go ahead, pump it again. And hold it. All right, close it up. Go ahead, pump it again. And hold it. There we go. Pedal goes to the floor. Close it up. And take the hose off. Just make sure this bleeder screw is snug. And put the cap on. Clean up any area that is messy with some brake parts cleaner. And then move on to the left rear wheel. The procedure on the left rear wheel is going to be the same as the right rear wheel. And you want to take the cap off and top off the brake fluid. Make sure it's up to the max line. Put the cap on. Now we're going to be on the right front caliper. We're going to do the same thing. Take the cap off, put the 10mm wrench on, and I'm going to use the hose. And we'll have our assistant go ahead and pump. Go ahead and pump. Nice and slow. And then while they're holding it, we're going to crack it open. And you can see the brake fluid coming out. I'll just close it up. Go ahead, pump. And hold it. Open it up. Nice clean fluid, no bubbles. Close it up. Go ahead, pump. And hold it. Open this up. Again, clean fluid, no bubbles. That's good. We can close this up. Take the hose off. Clean it up with some brake parts cleaner. You can let off the brake. Put the cap on. Just make sure that is tight and that's snug. And then from here, you're going to move on to the driver's side front or the left front wheel and do the same procedure. After you're done, if the fluid still seems pretty dirty, you can repeat the steps until the fluid is clear. And you want to take the cap off and top off the brake fluid. Make sure it's up to the max line. Put the cap on, and you're good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.